Good afternoon. I'm Megan Graham, and today I'm here live to talk to you about Aeon patch placement. And isn't it funny how I just sat down and I realized that I don't have my Aeon patches in my hand, although I do have my book. So I'm going to grab a different kind of patch. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys, I was just running around my apartment getting ready. It's been a busy day. So I wanted to talk to you today about the Aeon patch. This is a patch that I am constantly recommending as it has been one of the most important patches that I have used in my recovery from mold. And I think this patch, I feel like so many of the patches other than the X39 are often overlooked and people may or may not know what they actually do. So the Aeon patch, and excuse me because I'm holding a different envelope, I must have set the Aeon patch envelope down somewhere in my apartment. The Aeon patch is so incredibly useful. And I think a lot of people, you hear the term inflammation and people are like, oh yeah, inflammation, but it's not really that big of a deal. Inflammation is a huge deal. And if you really look into the root cause of many different kinds of sickness and disease, inflammation can be at the root, at the start of all kinds of different disease. So we want to find ways to reduce inflammation. And I'm not making any guarantees about anything that this patch is going to do. I'm not saying that it treats or cures any kind of disease. But what I will say is that I had extremely high inflammation levels. They were so high that I was at risk of having a stroke or something similar when I got out of a house that had black mold in it. And I knew that I had a lot of inflammation and I wasn't taking it that seriously. But when I found that out, I started taking it really seriously. And what I did was to consistently wear the Aeon patch. I also took anti-inflammatories, reduced my stress levels, and did various things. So it's not, one thing I always want to be really clear about is that I love my patches. My patches are an accelerant. They're a tool where I have been able to heal more quickly because of my patches, but they're not my cure, they're not my treatment. They're something that I do along with the protocols that my functional practitioner is to me. So the Aeon patch is something that not only is going to help to support decreased inflammation levels, but it also does something else that's so important, and that is to help people move into a state of a balanced nervous system. Do you know that feeling of being in fight or flight? I think a lot of people, if they really think about it, never feel good. They constantly feel like they have unmanageable stress. And again, it's not the only thing I do to support lowering my stress levels, but it makes a huge difference. I have also done something called EDMR, which is a really cool kind of trauma therapy, which uses eye movements. So while you speak to a therapist, they move a light, and that light helps you to process, like say you have traumatic memories from your childhood, or people can have PTSD from all kinds of different things. And it's a really wonderful therapy in that it's not extremely, for me, it wasn't extremely stressful. I did it to help cope with the fact that I had lost a younger sibling when I was 26. And I'm 47 now, but I just never was able to process that grief. And no matter what I did, it was still really awful. And so EDMR for me was a really fast and effective, and I felt like relatively painless way to help process that. So I did other things to help reduce my stress levels or my fight or flight symptoms, but the Aeon patch made a huge difference. And hello, Susan. Thank you so much for saying hi. Susan's in Queensland, Australia. What time is it in Australia right now? I have no idea of what the time difference is, but thank you so much for joining me. And thank you to anyone that is joining. Also, please hit the thumbs up button if you can. It means so much when you hit the thumbs up button on my video. And I also love it when you jump into the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. So for Aeon patch placement, the first thing that I want to say is that I love to use this patch. I use it day or night. Everyone is different in how they feel about the Aeon. So certain people are going to put the Aeon patch on and they're going to feel energized. For those folks, you're going to want to wear the Aeon during the day. Other people put the Aeon patch on and they feel tired and relaxed. And actually, sometimes the reason you're feeling tired and relaxed is that something, and for me, it's this, takes you out of fight or flight. And you might say, oh, I feel tired. When in reality, you were in overdrive before and you're not used to the feeling of being balanced. So you could mistake that I feel tired as a bad thing when it actually feels it's the feeling that your body is supposed to feel when it's relaxed. But many of us have forgotten what feeling feels like. And as Susan says, so it's Tuesday there, 8:16 a.m. Tuesday. Thank you for getting up so early and watching my program. I really appreciate it. I always love just chatting with you guys, and I hope it makes a difference when I talk about these patches. So my favorite placement for this patch, you guys, is not on the recommended placements. So just because you see these certain placements in the book does not mean that you actually have to only use those placements. So I'm going to show you guys, there's a few different things that I sometimes do. One is that I have something called mast cell activation, and this can bring on some intense headaches for me when I'm exposed to a trigger, environmental trigger, chemical, lots of different things can do it. If I do start to feel one of those headaches at times, I have put I don't care how it looks, I will put my patch right here to take down some of that inflammation. And it is incredible. If it is not a massive headache for me, this patch can make a big difference. Obviously, I know if you're going about your day, you may not want to put it right there. Another spot where I absolutely love to use this patch, so right behind my right ear, so the lower part of my ear, I move back just about a quarter of an inch and I put my Aeon patch right behind my ear for a brain balancing effect. Now, there's a few different reasons why this is important. If you do not know about the brain-body connection, there's a huge brain-body connection in illness. So this is really important, but getting your brain to be balanced and in a safe, regulated nervous system state makes a huge difference for letting how do I say this? When your mind is in a balanced place, your body is able to heal better. So you could do every single supplement, every single treatment, and still not get well simply because you are not in a balanced nervous system state. So for me, this is a really, really important part of healing. If you haven't ever heard this before, so this is an interesting thing, but many people, I think, trauma is very different, right? All trauma doesn't have to be, the worst stuff you've ever heard of, but things that happen to children, for instance, maybe parents fighting when they were growing up, or just different things that felt traumatic for them and they were not dealt with. This kind of family trauma, as people age, can actually, how do I say this? It can turn into various illnesses because that child grows up and has a maladapted nervous system and they're constantly in fight or flight. And I will just say that that is one of the things that actually probably predispositioned me to wind up being ill, is that I was stuck in fight or flight. So anyway, I won't get too into why illnesses happen, but regardless, getting your body into a balanced nervous system state is so incredibly important for your body to be able to heal. The way that my biotoxin doctor has explained it to me is that your body can't heal when it feels like it's being chased by a bear. And we don't have to actually be being chased by a bear to feel as if we are. I think some of us are so conditioned to going into fight or flight that we could go into it when we see someone calling us that we don't want to talk to, or we think about maybe a situation where we have to have a difficult conversation with someone. It can be so many different things. Sometimes fight or flight just becomes our go-to. And when fight or flight becomes our go-to, it's really difficult to get better from any illness. So anyway, sorry to just go into all those different things, but That is why this patch to me is so important. So behind the right ear is one of my favorite spots. I put this patch behind my right ear anytime I'm going to have a stressful day, anytime I know I'm going to have a very busy day where I might just not feel as regulated and I know I need to feel relaxed. Other times I wear it at night. So I'm one of those people that I can wear it day or night. It works really well for me both ways. Now, I'm also going to tell you guys the traditional places where you can wear this Aeon patch. So JD says, this patch makes me feel sluggish and very calm. Yes, so, and JD, that's exactly what I was talking about. That is actually when you're brought into a regulated, balanced spot in your nervous system. And for many of us who have been on overdrive and we're either stuck in fight or flight, or we're stuck in fight or flight and our bodies are absorbing the stress hormones. And so we get this energy, but it's a little bit of a background of frenetic energy. When you wear this patch, it can make you feel a little bit sluggish and calm because it's actually bringing you into the way that your body should feel. That's how your body should feel when it's calm. And I know it feels really strange because I wasn't used to it at first either. And I was like, something's wrong. I feel so tired. And then I suddenly realized, I think this is actually how I need to feel to heal. I mean, this is what I'm supposed to be feeling. But it took me a little while. I was like, what is this feeling? Why am I so tired? And I think just for years and years, I was doing so many things and I was driving myself so fast and so hard in my business and things I was doing that I was in overdrive and I never relaxed. And Patricia, hello, Patricia. Patricia says, Megan, your skin looks great. Thank you so much. It is my patches, obviously. It's a little bit of a blend, but especially the X39, I really appreciate the compliment. Especially because my skin was so rough last year. But the X39 has made a huge difference in my skin. It's been a combination for me. I think the X39 has been amazing. Reducing my inflammation with the Aeon patch has been incredible because I would get rosacea and other skin conditions when I was super inflamed. And lastly, I wear the Alavita patch about 5 nights a week, and that is helping to reduce my oxidative stress. So it's a little bit of a mishmash for me, but thank you for noticing. I'm about to turn 48. It's almost my birthday, and feel like really good going into 48. So I'm appreciative for being able to, with the patches, live as young as I possibly can, or just with as much vitality as I possibly can. I'm not uncomfortable with my age at all. I mention my age all the time, and also I always just try to mention this in the video. If guys, I am a Lifewave brand partner. That means that I am an independent distributor of Lifewave patches. If you're not on the patches and you want to learn more, I put my email into the body of this. It's my description. So if you hit more, you can find my email. And if you are not working with a brand partner, please feel free to write me about the patches. I often hop on the phone with people. I like to ask people about why they're thinking about using the patches, learning more about them, and figuring out if I can recommend some patches that specifically might be tailor-made to their lifestyle and their goals. I am not able to do that for other people that are working with another brand partner. They should always go right to their brand partner, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. And after I sign people up for the patches, I give them a lot of just personal support. So if people have questions, I love to hear from people that have ordered their patches from me with questions, with just if they just want to tell me how it's going. I actually put this patch on a neighbor of mine recently, and I'm not treating any of his conditions, but he does have diabetes. And first of all, he saw me working out in the gym and he asked me about the X39, and he signed up for it. He didn't even sign up through me. He later on did. But so he signed up for the X39. He was feeling really good on that. Then he signed up for the Silent Nights and he said, Megan, I'm sleeping 8 hours a day. And so I said, Mike, I want to sample you this Aeon patch because I think this is going to make a big difference. So anyway, he started the Aeon patch. I saw him a week later. He was down 10 pounds, which I assume was inflammation. He looked so handsome. I was really taken aback by how great he looked. And he said, Megan, it was like these exchanges make me so excited. So he said, I love these patches. I've been telling everybody about them. He hands out my business cards. And he said, I haven't taken Advil since I started this patch. So for some folks, when they actually reduce their inflammation, what they find out is that they don't necessarily need to take as many pain, whether it's Advil or aspirin or whatever people are taking, Tylenol, which those medicines, I guess they're called, in themselves can cause some inflammation. So this is a really great, I think, safe alternative. Susan says, I have my X39 patches. In with the patches is also a pack of 10 tiny white balls. There are more patches than there are balls. So I don't think, this is what's really funny. I don't think you even need to use those. I am not sure. You could actually ask the company, but I think that they just have to include those in certain countries that make them include them for them to be considered acupressure. As far as I know, nobody uses those beads at all. Everyone tells me that they just throw them away. So all you need are the patches. Just disregard those, Susan. Isn't that funny? But no, they don't do anything. You don't need to use them. That's not coming from the company. That's just coming from me. But as far as I know, no one uses them. Anyway, so this is a really vital patch. So this is linked below. Guys, always feel free to contact me if you're not working with a brand partner. I love to work with people. I love to get their results that they're getting. So this is a patch. If you are using some of the other placements that Lifewave recommends, this is a patch you're going to use on the right side of your body. As you can see, I have a carnosine here. It's one of my favorite ones. So right here, you see in between your thumb and your pointer finger, you just go back just a little bit and move your finger around. There's a little bit of almost like a hollow right there. That is one spot where you can put the Aeon patch as well if you prefer to wear this. For me, this isn't really my preferred spot, but you could wear it. I feel like with all of the constant hand washing I'm doing and things like that, I just go for comfort, and this isn't my preferred spot, but it doesn't mean that you can't wear it here. So I'm just showing you the spots. Another spot where you can wear this patch is going to be right behind your neck. So again, I'm going to just show you where I have my patch now. I am wearing my X49 patch. I don't know if you guys can see if I'm turning. It's right at the bottom of my neck, right where there's a little bump at the top of my spine. So that is another one of the Aeon patch placements that you can use. Another one of the patch placements is it's exactly the same as the X39 and X49 patches. So it would be, if your belly button is right, let's say right here, it would be 3 inches below your belly button. It's another spot where you can use it. So these are the designated Lifewave spots. You don't have to use it here, but you can. And I'm trying to think. So the other patch placements, this is kind of funny, but the other patch placements are actually on your feet. So I was trying to think of how I could show you guys, because obviously it's a little bit limited because of where we are. So I'll sit on my couch. How about that? To show you my feet. So it's still not really the best spot. Okay. So another spot where you could be using this patch, you've got this bump right here, and there's a little bit of a hollow right behind it. Still on the right side, your patch can go, I feel so funny sitting up on the top of my couch. Your patch can go right here. There's a lot of different spots where you can use the Aeon patch. And the last spot that they have designated, if you just trace back between your big toe and the toe next to it, you're going to also feel there's a little bit of an indent here. This is, I believe, a acupuncture spot. You can put your patch right here as well. Your patch will stay on because the adhesive is so good. So I swim in these patches. I wear them in my sauna. I take a shower, and they stay really well. So you could put this patch here. Again, I just have certain spots that I don't really like because I feel like I'm constantly moving my feet, but that is another spot where you can use this patch. Another thing that I just wanted to tell you guys, that's a funny place to sit. And if you're just joining me, guys, thank you for joining me. Please hit the like button. Feel free to jump in and ask any questions as well. We're talking about the Aeon patch and some different patch placements. And Susan says, I do wish that here in Australia, we could receive all the Lifewave patches. We are only able to receive some of the patches. Do you know which patches you are not able to receive? I'm so curious about that. The good news is, even if you could only get a few of the Lifewave patches, they do so much for you. I totally understand, because we are very lucky that here in the US, we are able to get all of the patches. But the good news is that just even if you can get your hands on any of these Lifewave patches, like even if you can just get your hands on the X39, it's going to change your life. I mean, I have yet to have a customer that did not see results that I worked with personally. And maybe it's because I do some troubleshooting. So if people are having little issues, I love to hop on the phone with my clients and say, well, what about this? Have we tried this? Should we take a day off? So there's personal ways that I tailor people's patching to them and how they're feeling. And I work with them on that. But anyway, whatever patches you can get your hands on, they do make a big difference. So what I also wanted to say is that the X39 works particularly well with the Aeon patch, and that is because, okay, so the X39 increases your GHKCU copper peptide. This is very important. This is the reason why my skin looks so much better. I'm approaching 5 months of using the patch, and I cannot believe what has happened with my skin. I say how excited I am all the time, but it's just, you don't really age backwards when you're 47. It doesn't happen. And I haven't gotten a ton of expensive treatments. I'm doing the exact same things I've always done, using hemp oil on my skin, whole foods cleanser, nothing fancy. And my skin is looking like it's aging backwards, and I am feeling younger. These are great things. And so, that doesn't really happen a lot. But here's the thing. X39, after that GHK copper peptide is increased in our bodies, naturally occurring thing, and it's increased, then our stem cell activity can increase. Here's the thing. High inflammation is sort of like the enemy of stem cell activity. So if your inflammation is really high, it's very possible that your healing abilities have decreased. So that is why this works so well. So if people are experiencing a lot of joint pain, a lot of inflammation symptoms, and they wear this patch and they wear the X39, they're often going to have even better results from the X39. So I have nothing but good things to say about this patch. This is a common patch. So a lot of times when people sign up under me as their brand partner, I send them a thank you. I always reach out to them because I feel like that's my chance to help people more. And so I always like to find out what people have going on. And this is I often sample people another patch if there's something that I think would be them. And, it may or may not help them, but that's why we see how do they feel with that particular patch. And so this is a pretty common patch where when I talk to folks, often like, okay, that I would sample you as you're starting out. Not everybody needs it, but I almost always wind up sampling this patch out as well, and it's just great. So I go to a woman who's fantastic. She does my lymphatic massage, and she really doesn't have a lot of issues other than she's had shoulder surgery. It hasn't healed up perfectly, and she has a very physical job where she's constantly working on people. And so I sampled her the X39 at my last appointment, and she was like, I feel pretty good. I don't really think there's anything, that could be better with me. And I was like, okay, well, if you want to try it, you can try it. And it's interesting because a week into it, she said, I definitely have more energy. I have more energy when I'm done. She's doing a lot of body work on people. She's working physically. And she just said, I've had energy for 2 walks. So now she's going to try it for a month, but she's someone, I don't necessarily think she needs this patch. She doesn't have a lot of complaints. She doesn't have a high stress level. She seems pretty calm. So far we're just starting with the X39, and then she's already interested in trying the X49 next month because I personally had great results with, I had bald spots that had developed and they were right here, but now I have hair that grew back in after I started wearing the X49. So that's a patch that I always just like to see what happens with other folks. But that was a great result that I had with that patch. So JD says, so you wear X39 and X49 separately? Do certain patches work better with one X39 versus the other? I personally, most of the time wear X39 and X49. The patches is if once in a while I am still, although I'm so much better, I'm still dealing with Lyme disease and a lot of things that happened from living in a black mold home. I don't even know how to say it. I just had a really intense inflammatory response to living in an unhealthy home. And so if I happen to have really severe symptoms, autoimmune symptoms from that experience, I sometimes just take a day off from my X49 and I just wear my X39. And that's my personal intuition in that if I feel like my body is already trying to do a lot, sometimes I just say, I'm going to wear one patch. But for instance, today I've got X49 here and I've got X39 below my belly button. And I also have a carnosine right here. So I've got 3 patches on today. My husband, on the other end, he is wearing X39 and X49, and he just started SP6, which is the patch to support weight loss. Jeff he's a very healthy eater, but he has a difficult time losing weight, and he just has just a little bit of extra weight. He looks so handsome and so fantastic, but he'd like to lose some weight from his midsection. So he just started using that patch, and what he has noticed is he's eating smaller portions and he doesn't feel like snacking as much. So he said he's still eating. It's not like he's not eating, but he just is like not quite finishing all the food on his plate, which he usually does. So it's been an interesting thing. We went for pizza last night, and he was able to abstain from dessert, which I never see Jeff do. So it was kind of an interesting thing. I'm like, I think that patch is definitely doing something very, very subtly. I've been sampling a lot of folks that I know, and we have a friend and we're not trying to treat it with this. He's doing all of the right things. He has cancer. He's seeing a dermatologist. I mean, he is doing everything, but he's very, very tired and he wasn't feeling well. So we gave him the X39 to try for a few days because he played golf with Jeff the other day and he just felt terrible. And he noticed the next day that his energy levels were better and his discomfort was better. And so I just sent him over some Aeon patches as well. I made Jeff drive over. It's like a 20-minute drive. And I was like, we need to get the patches on our friend. So he's wearing the patches. They're not the only things he's doing. He's doing everything his doctor recommends. He's checking with his doctor. But I'm pleased to say he has more energy and less discomfort, which is great. That's important. So just curious if anybody has any other questions. The Aeon is it's an amazing, amazing patch. I just sent a couple of them out to a friend that's been having a lot of stress. She has to make some decisions about closing down her business, and she also has a lot of inflammation from mold exposure. So I just said, stick this patch on, see how it feels, see if you feel anything, see if you feel any differently. I think this is a great patch. And even if, for me, I have all the patches, so I've got them all in a drawer. It's like my, I won't say it's my medicine drawer because they're not medicine, but it is my holistic support drawer. And I think that, what would I say? I just like to have them all, and I use them for different reasons. Like I might use the I probably use IceWave once a month. I use Energy Enhancer once a month, not every day. And these are great for people that might have some high stress days. Maybe you don't have a high stress day every day, but maybe you have that. Maybe you have to go see a family member who stresses you out, or maybe you have a really busy day at work or what have you. It's a great patch just to have around for when you need it. It's so nice. Truth Angel asked best for restless legs. So I'm not sure. I feel like restless legs are kind of, it's more, I don't know if that's a symptom or if that's is restless legs. I can't really tell you patches for a specific thing usually. That said, I don't necessarily, just from my experience, and I'm not diagnosing you and I'm not giving you medical advice, this is just for educational purposes, but one thing that I know, and it used to be the case for me, is that many times people are having restless legs because they are low in magnesium. So I take a topical magnesium. It's a spray. It's good, but it was low for a long time in his legs. So you could perhaps have your magnesium checked. And Disco asked, do you have a code so they know that we're coming from you? So Disco, 2 things. One, I just wanted to tell you, first of all, thanks for commenting and thanks for being here. If you go into, there's a few different things. If you go into below description, I think it says more under the video, you're going to see my email. So first of all, if you need any help choosing patches, I'm here for you. I love doing that. I love it when I get people before they get the patches, because sometimes I actually say, you know what, you don't want to use that specific patch this first month. Let's just do this. And sometimes you end up buying less initially. You don't have to ask me, but I'm happy to help and consult you. Secondly, my link is in there to my website. When you go below in the links and you click on any of those links, it's automatically going to be my website. And so you can sign up through me, and I will actually get credit for that. And then I'm your brand partner, which means that once you're signed up, I'm your personal. So I basically reach out to every single person that signs up through me. Everyone has my email so that they can check in with me, because not only am I the person that, I don't want to say I share the patches and you can sign up with me, but I'm also the person that helps to guide you through the journey and the patch transformation. And I just love it. I love it so much. Really fulfills me to help people. Says, I've tried that natural doctor in Canada, sells a great one. Awesome. So, well, Truth Angel, if you haven't used the patches before, the patch that I would always say to try and see what it does, because it does such amazing things, would be the X39. The X39 has so many benefits. It is making an impact in a positive way on a lot of different things that your body does. So if you're already using magnesium, you already have that covered. You've had your, I take it you've had your electrolyte mineral levels checked. So you know that your potassium is good. You know that you have, your calcium's in balance, zinc, all that stuff. Then the X39 would definitely be the patch that I would say to try. It is amazing. The X39 is linked below in the description, you guys. So always feel free to go into the description. I very much appreciate it. If you have not worked with a brand partner and you buy your patches through me, it's awesome. I love to help you, and I can't wait to meet you guys and chat with you. The only way that I provide personal support, just because I am so busy and I'm doing things for my own health so I can be my best again. But so I only provide personal support to people that have enrolled through me, and that is the special, value that I provide when people do sign up. And let's see, Uptown says, what differences have you noticed from applying the Aeon patches? So when I got basically Uptown, I'll try to do this condensed, because as you guys know, I love to talk. Back in August, I left a house that was full of black mold. And before I moved into that house, I wasn't having any kind of anxiety or depression. Everything was, normal anxiety. Everybody gets some, I think, sometimes, or I would assume so. But when I moved into a moldy home, I just within 5 days had incredible depression and anxiety. And I've never had depression. Even I've been sad, but not depressed. And it was a very odd thing. And I was like, what just happened? And so even when I got out of that house, it was still there. My inflammation levels, you guys may not be familiar with this, but there is something called, I think it's trans growth beta 1 factor. I forget what it's called. Mine, it's supposed to be under 22,000. Mine was at 34,000. And that was 3 or 4 months after getting out of that house. So it was, I don't know what it was. It could have been 60,000 when I got out of that house. Who knows? Anyway, so it was very high, right? So it was 34,000, supposed to be under 24,000 or 22,000. And that's honestly still terrible. I wore this patch and my X39 for 2 months, got my inflammation checked again. I was at 22,000. So my inflammation had gone from 34,000 to 22,000. Continued to wear these patches, and I just got it checked again with my biotoxin doctor. My inflammation levels are now 17,000. And I was like, yay, I'm in range. And my doctor was like, you're in the common range, but you're not in the healthy range yet. You're getting way better. These are incredible, changes. But she's like, she had said that my inflammation was so high that I should have been crying in bed in pain, because that much pain should make every joint in your body hurt. I was lucky I was walking around, right? So they helped with that. They helped me, my inflammation lowered greatly from wearing this patch. I also noticed just feelings of balance and calm, and a capacity to handle stressful situations that when I got out of that house, I really didn't feel like I had any emotional padding. And why did that happen? Because inflammation affects your brain as well. And so I had such high inflammation, but I also had brain inflammation. And if you don't know this, brain inflammation can make people grumpy, can make them depressed, can make them anxious. It can cause memory issues. So I was having so many different issues. So that was a big difference. I feel that it's added to my skin looking better. And I also just feel like it gives me a boost. So this patch, if you watch the videos where David talks about this, if you've ever heard of royal jelly and what royal jelly does for your body, and queen bee eats the royal jelly, right? And she is so much healthier, she lives longer, she's bigger than all the other bees. And this Aeon patch is designed to mimic the effects of royal jelly on your body. So it's just the coolest patch. I love it. And I'm so glad to hear that you love your X39 patches. Finding these patches, I was so skeptical about these patches. When the first few people told me about these patches, I was like, those are fake. There's no way. I mean, and when you look at them, you're like that little thing. How can that little patch, you can barely see it because it has a backing on it, but you think, how can that little patch make such a big difference? Like, it's just a patch. It's a piece of adhesive. And it's interesting because a lot of people who have bought these patches through me will just write me, and it's like, for instance, a really lovely lady, she signed up for them, and she had just gone through a lot of stress and trauma because she had a child that had been diagnosed with cancer. And as a mama, I mean, it makes me want to cry to even think about a mom having to go through that, but it really took a toll on her body. And so she had heard me talking about the patches, and she started using them about 2 months ago, and I have gotten so many updates from her. And it honestly sometimes makes me want to cry when I get updates from people, because just hearing the results, she said, Megan, I feel I have so much more energy and I'm not doing anything different. I'm just doing the patches. And she just said that she's able to handle more of the things in her life. And you can feel it, like the excitement. She was like, I was so skeptical about those patches, but she just said, I feel so much better and I love these patches. So she wrote me today and she said she was going to try the weight loss patch because she wanted to lose a few pounds in a healthful way before summer. And, of course, they're not going to get you to the gym. They're not going to make you choose. Like the SP6 is a great patch, but it's not going to make your healthy choices for you. You also have to decide and commit to it. But it's such a good tool to help you. These are just a great boost in so many ways. But if I could only wear one, I mean, I love the Aeon patch. If I could only wear one patch, probably my choice would always be the X39. Like, if I was on a desert island, you're going to give me 100 things in the patches, and that's all I can ever have, I would say X39. And what I also wanted to say is, people always ask me, can I stop wearing these? And you can stop wearing them, but you will lose the effects. So it's like, I always say, it's like brushing your teeth. And if you stop brushing your teeth are not going to be clean anymore. And if you stop wearing the X39, obviously that energy that you got from the X39, you're not going to continue to have those same things. I don't think it would necessarily fall off overnight. If you miss a day or two, I think you're fine. But for me, I always just say, try it for a month, try it for 3 months, see how you feel, and then decide if you want to continue it. I think that when people, and I'm curious about you guys that are using it, but once you feel it and you feel the effects, I just don't think it would be worth it for anyone that all of a sudden, like for me, I didn't have good days. I didn't have good energy days before I was wearing the patches, and I was really feeling awful. And so for the awesome good days that these have given me, for the ability to show up on my YouTube and have the energy and joy to just be here, it's worth everything. I buy a lot of patches every month, I will say that, but you know what? My physical body is worth it. My mental well-being is worth it. And my husband is absolutely hooked. And we also put them on these little babies too. So we do recycle our patches, and a lot of people ask about that. It's not what the company says you can do. I take it right off and I put it on my dog. I don't wear it again myself. So just one wear for me, and then I put it on my dog. So guys, I'm just curious, do you have any other questions? I always love to join you on here, reminding you that everything is linked below. You can find my email below. So if you're not working with a brand partner, feel free to email me. A question and you're already signed up for them with someone else, you should contact that person. And if you have a question that's like, people will ask me, why can't you wear them again the next day? And I always say that's a Lifewave question, because I didn't make these, so I can't answer everything. I think that would be something to get straight from the company. But someday I do hope to meet David Schmidt, because I just feel like I owe my mentality and how I'm feeling lately to him. And I think he's an awesome person. If you have seen a video with David Schmidt, the creator of these patches, he is so great. No, so the Aeon patches don't look any different than the X39 patches. They look exactly the same, but what's really great about the patches is that you can always you can flip them over and they are going to say in writing, although it's very small, they're going to say in writing what they are for. And before I sign off, and I'll just see if anybody has any more questions, feel free to jump in. And if it's not about the Aeon, it can be about anything, guys. If I know it, I'll answer it. If I don't, I don't. But so this week, my stepson, who is 26 years old, and he practices jujitsu just like I do, not at the same place because I didn't want to join at his jujitsu place and embarrass him, right, as his stepmom. But he, one of his ribs, I think, got moved out of place, popped out of place doing jujitsu, and he was in a lot of pain. So I put together a little care package for him, and we did the X39 and the ice wave patch. And I sent him the videos for how to apply the patches. And he was like, these patches are so weird, Megan. He's like, they must be working because I was able to, like, he was in massive pain. And he was like, I was able to sleep comfortably. And I don't know why. Like, it didn't bother me when I was sleeping. Obviously, he's still having some pain, but he said his pain was greatly reduced. And interestingly enough, he's 26, so he should still have a lot of stem cell activation, but the X39 still gave him a serious boost. So he's going to be wearing that X39 for a few weeks while he is healing. I always love talking to you guys. I appreciate you showing up so much. Please feel free to comment on this video even after I post it, and it's just, it stays up as a permanent video on my YouTube. And if you need help placing your order, so I have stayed on the phone or just to walk them through the website. So once you get through that aspect of just joining the conversation, I really appreciate you guys. I look forward to Mondays every single week. Stay healthy, stay beautiful, and just remember that, I was in the beauty business, and I really believe that beauty is the inside out. And when you take care of your body, there is nothing more important than giving your body what it needs, because we have one physical body and we really have one chance to take the best care of our bodies. So I always say, I don't buy many clothes. I don't buy a lot of expensive stuff. I like to spend my money on patches. I like to spend my money on healthcare and things that are going to, just make a big difference. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, and email me if you are not working with a brand partner. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a beautiful week.